Hey guys, and welcome back to the AGFA Esports LOL show match between MPA and Truth Blue. I'm your player like caster, still Belly Buzz Run Home, still joined by Cameron, excuse me there, Scooter Homage Charnock. I thought if I should retake that just for you, Cameron, but you know what, I'm going to leave that in there. We did have a day break in between the two matches as these guys had to reschedule their last match here, but it is match 3 out of the best of 3 series, and Cameron, yesterday's matches were definitely they were awesome to watch and really showed how good these teams are.
Or how bad that they can play.
That too,
the match I saw with MPA was absolutely abysmal, and it's not what I've come to expect of the team. But
you sound like an angry coach.
Well, you see here, Baz, it's really all about how they play. It's really, they don't play well enough. I'm pretty sure the glue factory is certainly still an option. But now you can see the sides have swapped, so now we've got blue side for team blue, Truth Blue side.
It's like I did the same thing the other day.
They're on blue side, I can't help it.
Yeah.
Oh, I am liking some of these picks.
Aaron with the Kale hover though, definitely a homage to that nice meme going around the server at the moment for the Kale ADC. But I think we should stop with the meme and actually get into the Champs League now, as they are pretty far into it. Truthfully, banning out Cho'Gath, Janna, and Lulu. Cho'Gath banned straight away, not really surprising. Targeting Aaron there. MPA going for the Jarvan, Na, and Wukong bans, targeting Cinderhulk. Probably in response to that Cho'Gath ban straight away. Aaron did say that he was going to target Cinderhulk if that ban occurred. Not really too surprising. The Janna and Lulu bans definitely targeting David Bowie and targeting that odd sensor meta at the moment as well. But we are going to see some of these other champs go through now. Alistair, Lee Sin being picked up by Cinderhulk. Vayne Spot Me as well coming out for Truth Blue. I believe he's one of their subs actually, as their original jungler couldn't make it for this match. And also as well we have Shen and Maokai being picked up by MPA. Shen, a very strong pick coming out of Broken Exile that he played in the first match that you missed actually, Cameron. It was super strong and really helped set up these ganks. Malphite getting picked up by Wilshere. And I've actually just noticed that a lot of these members from Truth Blue, they've actually swapped members around a bit with Truth Gaming.
I mean, they're sister teams, so they're pretty much the same team, to be honest here. It's like saying
very
Abyss
similar, like,
and Abyss Academy are completely different. Like, they're pretty much the same thing still.
They're basically following the same sort of strats and whatnot, obviously focusing around a little bit about the players. Malzahar getting picked out here by Hutch, as we know, Cameron. Malzahar being a definite pocket pick coming out of Classic Hutch, replacing the Rise there from the matches yesterday. Rise was the sub actually, so it's good to see that they've got their actual mid laner here in the match today as well. We do have Ari and Jhin bans coming out. Ari must have been a target ban, maybe against Wilshere, not entirely sure. Tristana band coming out, definitely targeting Alice Cooper though, and definitely because she's a strong pick in the meta at the moment.
But I'd say more interesting than that on bans is the fact that Maokai wasn't banned and now he's gotten through, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't actually appeared in the series yet.
Jinx getting hovered here by Alice Cooper. Could also, actually he's hovering just all the 80s is available right now. Vayne ban coming in. Probably so that MPA can't return the favor with the Vayne in the last match, Cameron, in game 2 that we saw where they went on an absolute streak. I think it ended up being like 10 kills or something along those lines in the end. Jinx getting picked up by Alice Cooper here. We know that's a pocket pick coming out of Alice Cooper. Jinx being his best marksman was played in the first match and he had a really strong showing on it. Karuto's picking up the Sivir there as well.
More interesting, I reckon, is Truth Blue were the ones that picked up the Vayne last game, and it was they were versing the Tristana. So I don't know if they're just like, yeah, we can't be stuffed playing Vayne, so not getting it. But also, Orianna getting through.
Orianna, a definite major pick in this meta at the moment. Great for all team comps just about, and also a very strong team fight just because of our old Shockwave being able to pull in the members of the enemy team and just being able to wombo down on top of them with all the other abilities coming out, especially like with the Malphite ult coming in with this Shockwave. That's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Last pick here coming out for MPA, it's going to be the support. Oh, we do have the Rakan coming out here, Cameron. Definitely a favourite for you for support.
That's because Rakan, who's just so much fun to play. there isn't much counter to him, especially when he gets to the mid game. Because if he's got flash, if he's got ult, if he's got W, that is, and this was calculated by Riot themselves. He has a 4,000 unit, like over 4,000 units of engagement area, just from how much mobility he gets from all of those abilities. So that's you being off screen in fog of war. You appear out of nowhere, and you've got your ult and your W. They can either Quicksilver Sash when your ult hits them, but they'd still get knocked up anyway, or they can Quicksilver Sash afterwards, which you've already just been charmed and knocked up, and that's all the CC's got, so it's pointless.
I'd like to point out as well, real quick, Cameron, that we haven't really seen David Bowie on the Rakan. He's known more for the Janna, who he's been playing quite a lot recently for the Braum, which I'm surprised he didn't pull out today. But then, to be fair, he did pull out that surprise big Lulu, so Rakan, definitely strong support at the moment, but what do you think MPA's chances are of winning this fight with the addition of the Rakan? They do have the Maokai and Shen as well, and Pocket picks out of Malzahar and Jinx for Alice Cooper and Classic Arch.
I mean, going off about the Malzahar and the Jinx, the Rakan, if they're losing sort of proper placement, the Rakan just needs to ult in, and then it stops them from countering a bad placement. And if they're busy focusing on the Rakan because they're charmed or whatever, they can't hit Malzahar. And he's hard enough to get through his spell shield, because you don't want to hit him with an ability, really, because that's just a waste, because he's going to take, what, only 10% of the actual damage of it.
But out of these... You go.
Oh, I was about to say, the Rakan is probably going to help more for healing and just utility with the amount of shields and his knock-up, as well as the charm and his ult, where, even though, yeah, because you go there, because if you look on their team, every single member of Team MPA has some form of heavy CC. Because you've got Shen's Taunt, you've got Maokai's slow hits displacement on his Q, the root on his W, the slow on his E, the root on his ult, Malzahar, the suppression on his ult, and also the silence on his Q. Jinx, you've got the Chompers, which is also a root, or is it a snare?
Chompers, I believe. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same either way, isn't it? They still get locked down next to his abilities, so.
And then Rakan, the knock up on his W, the charm, as I just said. Whereas, although that being said, you do have quite a CC heavy comp for Truth Blue as well. But I reckon they recognise the Truth Blue have actually recognised the comp, which is why Oriana's picked up the cleanse. But that's not going to stop you from taking a lot of CC. It's going to remove one crowd control effect.
Well, Kairu Tox was the guy who played with X-Semi Pros as well in the Grand Finals. For our event that we had in Salisbury, they are the champions coming into this next event this Saturday. Just an absolute strong showing coming out of that team throughout the whole event, pretty much beating every other team they came across in a pretty convincing fashion. Kairotox was able to play with them in the end in the top lane to sub in, and he showed that he can play really well with those members. He doesn't just have to get carried by them, so it's going to be interesting to see what he learned from those guys and see what he brings into this match here. We are 5 seconds away from loading into the game now, and Cameron, if you're a betting man, would you bet here on the revitalized members of Truth Blue with a mix in with Truth Gaming as well? Or do you think MPA will be able to take it out in a convincing fashion like they did in the first match?
Without seeing the first match, I can't make an accurate assumption. But this match is a lot. I mean, both teams have great team fighting potential. Although you bring it down to like a Maokai ult or an Oriana ult, both which can, heavy CC a large group, if not all of the enemy team, and which other people can follow in and burst them. So it's kind of hard to say without seeing how they start playing in the early game and how they try and get an advantage and make that roll. But I'd probably say just due to the amount of CC they've got, MPA probably have a better chance. But like I said, that can go either way.
Wait, so you think that MPA CC tops Truth Blues CC? I mean, they do have the Oriana ult, the Malphite ult, and the Alistair Initiate as well.
But still, yeah, no, I'm gonna put it down to MPA still because I mean Maokai is pretty much the meta jungler to go for. Rakan is one of the like really good supports. Like he's probably not as good as he was closer to his release. We got slightly nerfed. But oh, interesting. I've just noticed Jinx has gone for barrier and Rakan's gone for the heal, so they don't have an exhaust bot lane. But when you compare the stats between the barrier on ADC versus the heal, the barrier also blocks more damage, but you don't get obviously the health and movement speed.
We are going to cut you off here just quickly because we are getting into game here. We are going to see an invade attempt out of Truth straight away. But MPA able to follow up, but it's not going to be enough. Orianna picking up first blood there against Aaron straight away. Not a very good start for MPA at all. Taunt coming in for Breaking Exile to try and catch out these members of Truth Blue. Lee is actually quite low at the moment, but MPA aren't going to be able to get any follow-ups here. Truth Blue picking up first blood, not even a minute into the game. Definitely going to put them in the tempo advantage and definitely going to make them feel a lot more confident about taking this match.
I mean, I only just loaded into game, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was me as well. I loaded in randomly in 25 seconds into the game, so very strange. Not sure what League was doing there, but we are in. That's definitely a way to announce that we're into game now. Game 3, MPA versus Truth Blue. Truth Blue is on the blue side. Quite ironically, Truth and MPA are on the red side here. This is the final match of the series. MPA did pick up the first win in the first match, while in the second match, Truth Blue managed to take the win back from MPA, and now they're both on 1-1, so the winner of this match will win the series here. So, Cameron. Truth Blue already up to just a great start already, getting that first kill, which went over to the Orianna as well, so that's definitely going to give Hutch a hard time, and even the rest of MPA here, mainly because that one of their major carries out of Truth managed to get that first blood, got the second Doran's ring, definitely going to put her ahead.
It's quite interesting on that. Just bring up the items. Although the second Doran's ring, it's not actually sort of the best thing you can build. Like, the mana regen doesn't actually stack, but the other stats do, so it's a fine line. Like, it'll either work with her or won't, but when it comes up against a Malzahar,
we do actually have Vayne spot me catching out Broken Exile here, looking for a gank attempt. But we do have Broken Exile managed to use the taunt Shadow Dash from Shen. They're able to disengage that gank and make sure he doesn't get caught out. They're very smart thinking coming out of Broken Exile there. But we do have Orianna getting a bunch of burst damage down on the mid lane as well. We do have the members of Truth Blue pushing up the lane, the bot lane, sorry. But yeah, Cameron, as you were saying.
yeah, I can't
just ignore the wet noodle fight up the top lane. It was talking about the Orianna with the double Doran's ring.
But yeah, the actual stats themselves, it's just the passive effect that doesn't actually stack, so it could work either way. But one thing that's probably going to be a big determining factor in how mid lane goes is just how smart Vayne are.
Ironically enough, Lee Sin getting another gang in here, does get a Q combo down. Breaking Exile is going to have to flash away, but Lee also flashes forward but doesn't get anything out of it. Really a wasted flash there. Broken Exile will back now, probably pick up an item or two, and will have to teleport back into lane if Sin Help decides to push forward. But Aaron gets a nice flash W in onto the Orianna there. Hutch with the follow-up as well will get the kill against her there, and that's going to put Hutch back into the mid lane now, and really, if MPA were behind, they're definitely not now.
But going on into the mid lane, when it comes to Orianna and Malzahar, the Orianna's going to have to play very well to try and play around Malzahar's passive, because if she were to just ult him straight up while he still had his passive on, he wouldn't get affected by the CC and he wouldn't get affected by 90% of that damage. So you're really going to have to try and pop it with a basic attack, but you'd have to get close to him, which means you're in range for all of his abilities, and which he can also apply a lot of quick burst damage down. So, depending on how smart Hutch actually plays this will determine how mid lane goes.
Poorly with the nice Moo Cow Alistair taunt there. We were talking about that yesterday, about how that has to be used in every single game.
Well, it does. You don't get a choice.
Well, it's just like a natural reaction that you just have to do with that skin. Like your body just naturally does it. Spam that taunt button.
But yeah, if I can get back to talking about the barrier and heal in bot lane, the premise of that is it's actually starting to rise up, but that's because with barrier you get a larger shield than you do a heal when you pick heal. And the technique of going barrier heal bot lane only really works if you've got a sort of healer support, so you've got the wind speakers, because now the heal is stronger because they've got the wind speakers blessing, so they get improved heal.
We are going to see Lee Sin was waiting in the bush there to try and catch out Alice Cooper and David Bowie in the bot lane, but Alice Cooper did manage to put those traps down, stop Lee Sin from pushing any further, and they're going to get a nice disengage. Lee Sin does hit that vision plant there though, so it is going to point out where Aaron is in the jungle, and he's probably going to have to back away now so that the other members of Truth Blue don't catch him out.
MPA seem to be playing much smarter this game. I'm not sure if the
much smarter, but it's not going to be enough because that Q coming in from the Lee Sin is definitely going to put off Hot Shockwave going in from the Orianna. That was way too quick to even cast, but Hutch is going to go down. Lee Sin is going to pick up that kill. That's definitely going to put these league ganks advantage up quite a bit compared to Malco. We've already been seeing him get quite a few really decent ganks down, but I think that kill is definitely going to push that right ahead.
That's the thing about playing Malzahar. He is good, but you need to be careful early game just because of how squishy he is and how long it takes to get his passive back up. Later game, you can kind of be more aggressive because you do more damage to burst people down faster. And the passive comes up much faster, but still, you want to be very careful. Early game, we're more focused on just getting a bit of that poke down, but mainly focusing on CS. I mean, they're relatively even. There's only a 3-2 CS, 1 CS difference between the two.
Aaron, though, waiting in the winds, and David Bowie is going to get that follow-up W going in, catching out the Alistair Q going forward. Traps moving forward to try and move away Alistair, but the Shen ult also coming in, landing on David Bowie to try and catch out Paulie here. He's going to have to flash away to escape. He only just survived, though. A lot of resources being used by MPA, jumping up the kill here. They might just be able to get it because Paulie ended up going back to the fight for some random reason. Gets caught out by David Bowie, by Broken Exile, and Alex Cooper gets the follow-up, gets himself a kill.
I don't know if he was anticipating that his passive would be up so he get the kill just to be able to get a turnaround and get the kill. But from that fight, MPA's bot side still has all their summoners, whereas Truth Blue burned heal and flash for that, and that's also going to be a nice easy Infernal Drake for Team MPA, which is really going to help them try and get ahead.
That 8% AD and ability to power bonus we've seen before in a lot of these matches, Cameron, how much of an advantage you can give these teams. But in the top lane, we are going to see Truth Gaming trade that Infernal Drake for a tower, so in the end they don't lose too much. They do get map pressure out of it, some extra bonus gold, and they even burn Broken Exile's teleport there. Not sure what he was thinking trying to burn teleport. They didn't have enough time to make that tower last, so very strange move coming out there.
I don't know, you just gotta question what these people are thinking sometimes.
I mean, there were some of the similar mistakes we saw in the last match, Cameron, coming out of MPA.
That's the first sign they're starting to play a bit sloppy. And that's what's going to cost them the victory.
10 minutes into the game now, though. It is 2-2 for both these teams. The tower advantage is going over to Truth Blue, but Aaron is going to catch out Orianna here. Classic Hutch getting that flash ult play in. Ignite is going to be enough to kill this Orianna, even though she did try and shield that. That kill is heading over to Hutch there. Very nice calculated play coming out into the mid lane. And MPA, as you were saying earlier, Cameron, definitely picking up where they left off in the first match and not having a lot of those misplays that we saw in Game 2.
I mean, with that fight mid lane, Orianna did kind of just get nerfed because she just was so predominant in games, so that shield isn't actually as strong as it used to be. But not only that, if it was just Ignite, it probably would, you know, it wouldn't have probably been that. She probably would have survived that. But when you combine it with a Deathfire touch, as well as Malefic Visions from Malzahar, yeah.
That damage over time is just ridiculous.
That's just going to burst straight through her shield, especially one at this, like early in the game, rather.
Aaron, going for the Tracker's Knife this time as well. Maybe he might have heard us shouting at him in the last game about how he went for Chilling Smite instead of the Tracker's Knife, which was one of the main reasons why MPA lost the match last game, because of the lack of vision. But Cameron, even though we're seeing Sightstone coming out from Paulie, Tracker's Knife coming out from both junglers, and we'll assume to see that David Bowie would get that Sightstone still as well. A lot of control words coming out from MPA. There really isn't that much vision control happening on the map at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, although it's not a fair comment to say that just because Aaron didn't actually buy the Tracker's Knife is the reason why they kind of lost that game. Because it wasn't just on the jungle.
We do actually have Vayne Spotme and Willshade hanging around in the bot lane. That looks like they're trying to get a gank under tower, but missed their opportunity there. Aaron heading into mid lane to help Hutch out to push away Cinderhulk. We're going to have to be careful. Oh, coming in from the Malzahar and the Shockwave coming in. That's the kind of wombo combo ults we're talking about that can catch his members out. But Malzahar getting the ult down onto Cinderhulk, trying to keep him away. He did get caught out by Lee Sin Q, but Shen ult does go forward. But the Jinx ult coming in there, catching the Lee Sin out, going to give her the second kill of the game. Sivir now ult in though to get the rest of his members up hill. It's going to go down. Aaron is going to get taken out by Willshade there. Kill for kill going out here, but nice reactive play coming out of MPA to make sure they didn't lose that fight there, and also picked themselves up a kill.
It's just the mid lane is still even. One person gets an advantage, the other team counters it by putting attention onto there.
Looks like MPA want to try and get this re-engage though. David Bowie getting that dash forward. Alsa is going to have to try and survive this. David Bowie catching an ult as well to get that charm down. He's going to have to back away so he doesn't get taken out. Paulie is super low right now. He's going to get taken out by a classic Hutch here. Jinx trying to re-engage to get extra damage down to ult. Taken out Broken Exile there. Tried to catch off a taunt, but Alice Cooper going on a killing spree, taking out Cinderhulk there. That's definitely going to push him forward 3-0. We're seeing very nice shades of MPA coming out of the first game here, but we do see Lee Sin coming in to catch out the Malzahar, followed up by Kairu Tox there. Nice kill going to go over to him, but Malzahar managed to get the Ignite E down on Lee Sin. He wasn't going to survive that. He was going down, and now MPA would not be surprised if they now try and push in this tower.
So is that
They've got to be careful because Aaron's going to W in here. The shield from Sivir is not going to be enough. They are going to have to back away because of that tower aggro. But that's going to push her away, and now realistically, the members of MPA should be able to push this tower. Paulie does have a disconnect though, so that pause is now going to come through, and Cameron, we can finally catch a break out of that disengage, re-engage fight to try and break down a little bit about what happened there.
That is going to be hard. Because that was a lot of people who went in, a few, especially the supports, who got a few good picks with their abilities, like the Ricano, and his team was there to engage, which was, you know, what you actually want. But it's just, someone would go in, they'd get focused, so they get to low health, they'd leave, and then they'd go back in.
And then they'd leave, and then they'd go back in, and then leave, and then they go back in.
And then they die, because they don't have any health when they go back in. I mean, I'm pretty sure MPA got the upper hand, because I think they got 4 kills?
Yeah, they did get a 2-kill advantage, and a lot of those kills went over to Hutch and Alice Cooper, their main carries.
I mean, now, Hutch on his Malzahar is now 2 kills up on Orianna, and has an additional 8 CS. So he's starting to earn that advantage. Besides that, the stats are roughly even. Hutch does have boots and a completed item, whereas Oriana only just has completed boots. But so I think if we look at the map, we can realize that in the absence of proper warding from Truth Blue, MPA has vision control.
Yeah, they do have a few more wards down, but do you think it's accurate to call it vision control? They only have a few wards down. Sure, it's more than Truth Blue, but they're really not in any particular locations of the map that are going to give them like the intel advantage. I mean, they've got on Rift Herald, so they'll definitely be able to notice if Truth Blue try and go for that. But besides a few that in the bot side river, there isn't any like inside deep wards going in here. So I think
they're only still just actually in the jungle.
Yeah, Aaron could definitely put some wards down once this pause.
The actual where the locations of the wards, especially in the bot side red team jungle, all those lead to choke points. And if you're a good way for like a Lee Sin to put Aaron behind would be to try and start stealing his jungle camp.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they've got kind of advantage there. And the control ward there was to stop more of the Vayne Oriana roams to tower dive, so they have advantages, but not enough to actually be worth it. But you know, a ward is a ward.
Out of that massive team fight that happened, though, I mean, MPA ended up getting the advantage there, even though they are a tiny bit gold down because of the CS difference between some of these members. MPA, I'm pretty sure we can safely say they're somewhat in front. Sure, they don't have the tower advantage, but they won that team fight quite easily. They were able to re-engage quite a few times to pick up more kills, even after some of those members of Truth Blue backed away, and I think one or two of them might have backed for some healing and some extra items. They could definitely go and push this mid lane tower as well, but out of both teams, it seemed like a lot of desperation was coming out to pick up a bunch of kills, and I'm questioning a little bit why they chose to do that.
I mean, if you go back to the last game, they didn't actually get, like MPA especially, didn't get that many kills. They got behind. So I don't know if they're trying to counter that to try and get ahead by pushing for these fights and like forcing an advantage. I mean, they have more kills. They have currently more objective. Oh, they have Infernal Drake, but Truth Blue is still actually heading gold, and they'll have a 1 tower advantage. So yes, it's currently working for MPA to try and push these fights because they have more kills, and from that it managed to get them Infernal Drake. But if they keep trying to push it like this, it's probably not going to work out fantastically for them. They're probably, in some situations, forcing a team fight. If they're not expecting it, you can, get in and just wipe out and get your advantage going. But if it doesn't work out, you're just giving them free, gold.
My initial thoughts on it is that because we're in the final round of the series, that maybe they want to try and rush these team fights, try and force them out of the other team so that they'll slip up, and then the other team can get the advantage and get a quick and easy win. Obviously, because they are 1 and run right now. Whoever wins this will have bragging rights for a little while. So, do you think that might be an influence in the case of that team fight, and possibly any others that might appear a little bit after this?
It's definitely a possibility.
I was going to say I'd like to point out some of the summoner spells, but I'm not sure here which one's actually burnt because they're all off cooldown at the moment. I'm pretty sure some of them are on cooldown, but the pauses might be hampering that. I'm not entirely sure, so we'll go into that a little bit afterwards. But how about we look at...
I'm not sure if that actually, while they're paused, if abilities come off cooldown or not.
Yeah, it's something we might have to check, but how about we talk about something that we do know about, and that is some of these item builds coming out from some of these guys. Cameron, Malphite opting for the Sunfire Cape first, and Shen is going to follow suit as well once he actually gets some more CS down here. He's actually quite a bit of CS behind, 30 minutes in. Only has 46 CS. The jungler, Vayne Spot Me, coming out of Truth Blue, has more CS than Broken Exile. That's definitely something he's probably going to have to work on to try and catch up a little bit. But he'll be going for that Sunfire cape. We do have, like we said, Lee Sin as Vayne Spot Me and Aaron playing Maokai, both opting for Tracker's Knife. Very standard item for Lee Sin and Maokai. And for most junglers, I would have to say as well. We do have... We already covered a little bit about Willshade and Classic Hutch, but how about we talk about Alice Cooper and Kairutox? They both have a BF sword. However, Alice Cooper is opting towards finishing off that Berserker Greaves first, while Kairutox looks like might be opting towards a different item.
Without having really any experience on Sivir and not having really that much of an invested interest in what the current builds are, especially for Jinx and Sivir, I'm not actually sure what you even rush on them anymore.
I was going to say, Kairutox, I think they might be opting towards an Essence Reaver because of the Longsword and BF Sword.
Essence Reaver has, well, especially more recently, been a very good item, especially on your Ashe, just because of the effects that it gives. So I would not be surprised if they're going to try and rush for an Essence Reaver.
And then out of the supports here, Paulie already got the Sightstone. He's got the Targon's Brace as well, but with the Cloth Armor Ruby Crystal, he could be building towards a Knight's Vow for Kairutox or possibly even Willshade. That would definitely help them out in these team fights and help them get back into the fight here. David Bowie, looks like he's opting toward to rush that Ardent Center finally. Definitely an improvement over some of those caster type supports that he was playing yesterday, where he wasn't rushing at first go, and it definitely put him behind.
Ardent Sensor is the best item in the game, without a doubt, especially at the moment. But actually, I want to derail that. And if we look at the gold difference between the various lane roles, there's actually a tremendous difference towards Truth Blue. The only sort of major difference is between the supports, where it's pretty much the only instance where Truth Blue is behind by a lot. I mean, what, Malphite is ahead by 1,000 gold. Lee Sin is ahead by just under 1,000 gold. Malzahar is ahead of... Oh wait, yeah, Malzahar is ahead of Oriana by like under 300. Sivir is only a couple, well, yep, only something like 26 CS gold, sorry, behind Jinx, but that's probably because of the
2 kill advantage, yeah.
But Sivir's also got the 26 CS advantage.
It just goes to show how important CSing is in League of Legends.
Unless you play a caster support and build Nomad's Medallion, which when you compare Alistair to Rakan, they both have the same number of assists. Alistair has 15 more CS, and he gets the gold from the execute duty of the Targon's Brace. But the Nomad's Medallion, that's an extra, roughly 400 gold at 13 minutes. Now, if there's one thing that we should probably take away from this, it's that Ancient Coin needs to be buffed.
Needs to be buffed even more, you reckon?
No, it got nerfed last patch. Well, this patch, you get less mana from it now, and that's just killing the item. That's the most broken thing on it.
Well, from what I've seen out of David Bowie, because he's actually been rushing that item path with all of his supports, he hasn't really been behind in mana, but now the game will finally be unforced after that 10-minute wait there, where he's going to continue Truth Blue taking on MPA here, the third match of the series here. It is 1-1 for both teams. Whoever wins this match will be the winner of the series here.
And it looks like, yes, abilities do come off of cooldown while paused.
So, very strange there. Might have been the hot system as well, but Vayne Spot Me out of that. straight away as the pause goes in, gets a nice Q catch on a David Bowie, follows up straight away with a nice bunch of burst damage coming through. Gonna take care of him, and now he's gonna fix attention onto the Maokai, but it's not gonna be enough here because Hutch and Alice Cooper were ready to catch him out. Aaron able to tank a lot of those hits, get the W down, because oh damn, a shockwave coming in, catching out Alice Cooper there. He's gonna have to flash away to move away from this fight. Aaron trying to take the hits as much as he can, even though he's low, using the passive to heal up a little bit, but if he's not careful, he's gonna take it out, and he will do by the Q coming out of Willshade. Gets himself another kill there over for Truth Blue here. Hutch is gonna have to flash away to move away from the Caratrix ult there, and MPA weren't expecting that massive re-engage out of Truth Blue, and that is probably going to help secure them with the tempo lead, definitely.
They seem to have had withdrawals from team fights from all that pause time, so they tried to rush as much action and just ultimates by the looks of it.
It was a roughly 10 plus minute wait, so not really too
because if by looking at that, but as soon as the pause came off, everyone had that ult.
We are going to see MPA here, going to stop this. Mount Drake being taken, but Alice Cooper getting another nice snipe with his ultimate. That is definitely a recurring factor in this series with the Jinx, and goes to show how great he is on this champion. Kill going to go over to him, but Classic Hutch did get taken out there in the ensuring fight as well. David Bowie getting that nice knock up over the wall, but he's actually been caught out there. He's going to get taken out by the Lady Sin because there was no follow-up, but it was enough to actually disengage those other members of Triple A away from the Mountain Drag. They're going to take that, and that's going to go over to MPA, catching out both dragons there. Truthfully, that's definitely not what they wanted to happen in that fight. Sure, they managed to pick themselves up. I believe it was... Oh, no, it was just... I think it was just a single kill there. But they lose an important objective.
But going back to that, since the pause in that thing, Malphite, Lee Sin, Oriana, and Siva had used their ults in that fight. They're all coming back up now. Aaron used his ult, Classic Hutch used his ult, and then Alice Cooper used his ult at the end of that. And then even David Bowie used his ult around the dragon. So in such a short amount of time, just so many ultimates being burned. But despite that, besides Flash on Aaron and Classic Hutch and Jinx, as well as Barrier.
Yeah, the number of summoner spells there that were burned out there. Another Jinx Knight coming on here. That's going to be max range as well. Actually going to combine with Cinder, but his passive actually tanked a majority of that damage, and that's going to stop him. But Broken Exile is going to get that taunt down to stop these members of Truth Blue from taking this Rift Herald, and MPA capitalizing on all of these objectives. They're now going to focus their attention on the Rift Herald, and they're going to pick it up for themselves.
They've really learned that, you know, objectives are a thing in Summoner's Rift.
I mean, we saw that objective play coming out in some of the earlier scrims and in the first match. It just seems to be in the second match, Truth Blue were able to get the upper hand on them and push them away from their usual objective play.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they haven't got more towers than they did last time, but I think they're halfway there to getting the same number of towers as they finished last game. Yeah,
they're pretty close. We do see the first tower for MPA getting taken out. It's going to be the mid lane tower from Truth Blue going down. Opens up the map quite a bit more. Aaron catching out the W on Cinderhawk. Not sure why he targeted them, maybe to just push away the members of Truth Blue, but not sure entirely what was going on there.
I'm also not sure why David Bowie insists on being that far out positioned by himself. I mean, Rakan is sort of naturally tanky because of his passive, which gives him a very periodically gains his shield, but he's not tanky enough to be able to take on Lee Sin by himself, let alone with at least one other member of Truth Blue.
I think it was very similar to the Janna match, actually, in the second match of the series, where he'd try to flash in and get the Monsoon ults to really push away these other members of Truth Blue, really out of position so that MPA could follow up. But every single time they do that, they really wouldn't get the picks they'd want, lose a valuable ult to use for more of a disengage or a heal to keep them in the fight, and then also the team fights out of that. And a lot of those times he was put out of position there, so maybe it might be something very similar to what was happening there. It might be something we might need to work on.
See, kind of out of position. He did manage to land that, but he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage.
Yep, we have the Oriana catching out. He does get the ult down. Luckily, Broken Axe was able to get the ult there, but we do have Willshade getting the shockwave. That's exactly what I was talking about getting these members and taking them really out of position to get those kills down. Vayne Spot Me does take out Alice Cooper. That's their main damage down. David Bowie getting taken out in the fight there by Willshade as well. But luckily, Hutch was there to get the double kill and take Aston Hulk and Vayne Spot Me MPA. And they're going to be able to push forward with Rift Herald to try and take out this tower. Oriana trying to do what she can to push away these members of MPA so they can't get the tower. But it's not going to be enough. And that tier 2 tower is going to go down. Rift Herald still at half health. Should be able to get a tiny bit of damage down to the inhibitor. Whether MPA will be able to capitalize on that a little bit later, we'll have to wait and see, or if we're about to heal back. But Baron is up in 40 seconds, Cameron. Do you think it's a possible objective that MPA might try and focus, or do you think it might not come into effect this game?
I mean, just from Rift Herald, they managed to push into the inhib tower, so and because they're now starting to put a bit more focus into like a 1-3-1 split or a 1-4 split, you know, like a 1-4-0, I think just having the Baron to help with the split pushing and just the Baron being to help push in would help them a lot. So, I mean, you should never just go, oh yeah, we don't need Baron. Like, if you've got a clear opportunity to do it and you can kind of guarantee that you'll get it, might as well, because otherwise you're risking letting them get it and making a counter.
They do have the Jinx on their team out of MPA, so they're going to pick up this tier 1 tower down the bot lane. It's going to be the 3rd tower of the game for them as we're talking about this. But Classic Archer's going to get that nice flash ult down. Going to put that Lee Sin back into place. He can't do anything, but down the bot lane, Shockwave going through, takes out the Jinx there with the help of Karutos. The kill is actually going to go over to him. David Bowie only just being able to escape that, having to burn flash. Hutch and Aaron getting a nice pick in the Lee Sin in the mid lane, but I'd have to say that Willshade and Karutos taking out Alice Cooper down the bot lane is definitely more of a disadvantage for MPA, losing a more valuable member than their jungler for Truth Blue.
Considering the only thing that actually saved David Bowie was the chompers that Jinx put down that managed to snap both Oriana and Sivir.
And the flash burn as well.
Yeah, I mean, even if you would have flashed, if those chompers did not land, he was dead.
Yeah.
Just the shockwave managed to burst Alice Cooper and David Bowie down from, I don't know if it was full health or most health, but
it was an immense amount of damage.
Yeah. Also, it's no longer a 4v5.
I should just notice that, yeah, Pulley had a bit of a disconnect there. Not sure what happened there. Probably should have been a pause there. But Aaron does get out the Vayne Spot Me. Jinx ult does go forward. Isn't going to connect with anyone, though. They're going to be able to disengage this fight now. And actually, MPA might have to be careful, because they might actually lose that tier 1 bot tower.
Although...
Ocean Drake now looking at the main base, coming in. Shockwave coming in here, doing another huge amount of damage here. Mark going through to try and catch out the members of Truth Blue to stop them from coming in. But Ocean Drake did get reset. MPA trying to push forward. The Ocean Drake gets reset once again, and now Truth Blue the opportunity to go through flash. Q coming out here from Paulie. Nice Q coming in here. But David Bowie gets the ult down. Gonna have to follow up thanks to Classic Hutch. Broken Exile taken out. Kairu Tox there. Wilshare's gonna be taken out by Hutch. He's also gonna have a double kill, taking out Paulie in the process as well. Truth Blue tried to get themselves the advantage there. Definitely had the right idea, but didn't have enough follow-up there. Broken Exile getting himself a double kill in that fight now, taking out Vayne Spot Me, and they're going to get the Ocean Drake here. Cameron, Truth Blue really dropping the ball here compared to Game 2.
That was a beautiful Shen TP taunt that managed to land on, I think, 3 members, which meant that the other teams, especially David Bowie, could just come in with the ult, the knock up, but probably more of a contribution to Team MPA than it was to Truth Blue was the low-level Alistar, who's been AFK for quite a bit, just walking through the middle. I don't know if he thought he would be tanky enough to sustain himself, but got him killed. They lost probably their most reliable source of CC on the team, considering his CC is spread out amongst 3 abilities. And now because of that, because of a bit of a sloppy play from Truth Blue, MPA now have Baron and they're pushing and they've managed to get the tier 1 top lane, and they should be able to push and get the tier 2, if not but do significant damage to it.
Teleport coming out here from Broken Exile as well. They definitely want to get this hard push down in the top lane now because of this Baron that just had, and they're able to push forward quite easily here. It's only Cinderhulk and Willshade towards top side. They're going to get this tier 2 tower as well. And Cameron, I'd just like to point out real quick as well that Karutox and Alice Cooper managed to pick up both items that we were talking about, getting the Essence Reaver and also the Infinity Edge. So very nice prediction coming out for us there. But now we're going to have Cinderhulk ulting in there. Nice shockwave coming out, but they do not have the follow-up damage to go through. Hutch getting the ult down on Paulie, I believe was. He's able to ult to tank a lot of that damage. Jinx ult is going to go forward. Definitely quite an extended team fight here, but Aaron cuts the follow-up, gets the Makai ult down. That's definitely going to decide the fight here. Devil Boy picking up a kill against Vayne Spot Me. Hutch is going to take out Paulie. Alice Cooper taking Cinderhulk in that fight. And we also have David Bowie once again taking out Willshade as well there. We're going to see Karutox is actually going to be at base tower and inhibitor going down here. Karutox is not going to be able to do too much about here. First Nexus tower does go down. Flash coming out from Karutox to try and disengage his fight. Ults go forward. She's trying to get the pick here. Maybe get a final kill against Aaron. Second Nexus tower going down. The Nexus super low from getting down here. Pretty sure it's safe to say it is GG. Like you just said then, Cameron. We do have Paulie getting a nice headbutt there. Taking out Aaron on the base mate. But Archie's going to take care of Paulie there in that fight. Vayne Spot Me tries to get the key forward, but not going to be enough. Nexus goes down. And MPA getting the second win here and taking out the series.
That was the most... I mean, it was an exciting ending, but it was fast. It was just... It was either way. Even if Truth... I'm pretty sure, yeah, Truth Blue had the advantage up until that fight for the Ocean Drake. And then some bad plays and some really good plays from MPA got them the gold lead. Then they managed to capitalize on that. And then they managed to get Baron. And then they managed to push in 3 towers and an inhib, and then probably 2 towers and then fighting on the third, and then another horrible play. Well, horrible's a bit harsh, but another bad sort of plays coming out from Truth Blue meant that NBA could capitalize, especially with the Rakan just diving onto tower, landing some nice CC, and you've just got everyone there to back them up and to capitalize on that, especially the Hutch manages to get an ult down and make his Malefic Fusion spread, and Alice Cooper to apply constant damage. And even from all of that, I'm pretty sure Civil was bot lane pushing by herself, so it was already 4v5 and they'd already lost one of their main damage dealers for the fight. And then NBA just managed to steamroll that, and in the entire fight they managed to take out 4 members of Truth Blue in that fight until people started respawning. MPA did not lose a single member.
Like to point out as well that Hutch in the end was 12-3, Cameron, with 7 assists as well. Alice Cooper was 5-2-9, and you can just see those major carriers coming out of MPA just going on a massive streak there.
Streak, more like rampage. They came back with a vengeance.
But this is definitely towards the end side of the match was how MPA were playing in the first match of the series and just how dominant they were. We did see Truth Blue picking up that first kill before the minute started, and that was definitely bad signs coming out of the MPA camp, showing that maybe they might end up losing. Not that they might have ended up losing, but definitely that maybe they might not have picked up on what the issue was before if they were able to get hit again, because that was the third match in a row where Truth Blue was able to pretty much invade MPA's jungle and get the advantage out of that. They did it in both matches, so now all 3 matches as well. But MPA were able to turn that around quite quickly, even though the match was semi-close in the early game, gets towards the mid-game, and MPA just went running with it. But out of this series here, Cameron, this does put MPA 2-0 in scrims in the scene at the moment. They are actually on top of the boards, and this will, but not counting the tournament matches, this does put them as the strongest team in the server at the moment, not counting Washed Up X Semi Pros, our current champions from the previous event. and also mainly because they haven't actually done any scrims yet, so we haven't been able to see how good they really are. Truth Gaming also not being able to do any proper scrims at the moment, but so far MPA are on top of the board, going 2-0. Truth Blue are now 0-1, with Avada being at the bottom, being 0-2. Do you think that MPA are going to go with this momentum now into the event this Saturday and go for the win?
I'm hoping. I mean, they've swapped out Galaxy Diamond to have a much more competent
and stronger top laner. Yeah.
I mean, just look at that Shen, 2-1-13.
And the amount, and that Shen as well, you saw in the first, well, I saw in the first match, you saw how good he is in this match as well, just how powerful he is in these team fights. These teams are definitely going to have to look at probably banning out Broken Exile Shen because it's just of how strong that it is. Classic Hutch as well, showing that why you need to ban his Pocket Pick Malzahar because it's just that powerful. Hopefully Truth Blue will be able, and Truth Gaming will be able to decide on these bans if they come across them again in this championship match on Saturday. But out of this now, congratulations to MPA for winning the series here, going 2-1 against Truth Blue. And Cameron, this was definitely an exciting series to cast before the event.
The last match was just,
It did show that MPA have weak spots though, and Truth definitely know where to poke them, so maybe the championship series might be able to see them punch through those weaknesses again and get the win. It's definitely a possibility. Out of that now, again, congratulations goes over to MPA. Definitely an exciting series to cast as well. These vids will be up on YouTube tomorrow, our time, which is Friday, the 18th of August 2017. So hopefully by then, this will be up before the event for you guys to check out and see. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this show match we had here as well, giving you a bit of a taste to what the online events will be very similar to when we start running them after the major LAN event here. But we hope to catch you guys at the major event this coming Saturday. I've been your play-by-play caster, Bailey Bazran, joined by Cameron Scooter Holmes Charnock. Is there anything else you want to say, Cameron, before we hop off?
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye. Have a very good time.
So, we'll catch you guys on Saturday. Till then, guys.